My name is Mr.Kovahled. Let's go on an adventure. Right now, we are in Edmonton's River Valley. Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be. But why are we here? Well, the main reason we're here is because this, my friends, is an ecosystem. An ecosystem is an environment just like this, where there's living and non-living things being in the same place, interacting with one another in some way. Now, you might be wondering, Mr. Kovahled, how big does an ecosystem have to be, well, an ecosystem? It doesn't have to be that big at all. It can be as small as a pond, or as large as this. As large as the Edmonton River Valley. Or again, even as small as this tiny little island over there. Well, you might be asking, Mr. Kovahled, what are these living and non-living things? Well, living things have 4 main qualities about them. 1, they can breathe. All living things must be able to breathe, and that's not just because they like to take in air and release some carbon dioxide. No, it's because all living things need oxygen, at least on the planet Earth, and some other chemicals potentially too, to let those cells breathe and to actually continue existing. Think about your brain, think about your heart, think about your lung. All of those things are made out of cells. If those things don't get oxygen, those things don't work anymore. The second thing is, they need to be able to move. Now, when I'm talking about movement, I'm not talking about the wind blowing something away. I'm talking about being able to move for survival. Human beings, if we don't move, well, I can tell you right now, that kangaroo that I fought in Australia, it would have definitely taken me out. What about plants, though? Plants can move as well. The sunflower plant can actually move where it's facing, depending on the sun's movement, so you maximize that energy it gets from the sun. Movement is essential for living things. The third thing that living things do is grow. Imagine if you're a baby out in the wilderness. Are you going to survive? Well, maybe if you're a baby Mr.Kovahled, but if you're a regular person, not raised by mummy and daddy Mr.Kovahled, then you need to be able to grow so you can be big and strong and be the one that survives. The last thing that living things do is reproduce. That is, have children or offspring. That's so that they don't ever become extinct. With more offspring, there's more chances of your genetic material surviving. So, my parents had me, and if I were to have children, they would be my offspring. That shows another example of a living thing. So what does that mean about non-living things? Well, let me show you. In this environment right here, there's a combination of living and non-living things. Can you see them? No? Well, let me help you out. You see, this tree over here, the one that's growing leaves, that is a living thing. But this same tree that's been knocked down is a non-living thing. Now, the name we use are organisms, but more specifically we also use the words biotic and abiotic. An abiotic organism is something that is non-living. A biotic organism is something that is living. So these fallen tree trunks, those would be abiotic things. While these leafy greens, those would be biotic. Now, I want to show you something a little bit interesting. Over here, we have some living moss on a dead tree. That means there's a biotic factor, biotic organism living on an abiotic factor, that dead tree. But that tree was alive, you might say, Mr. Kovahled. Well, it was, but now it isn't, meaning it was biotic, and now it's abiotic. How does that happen? Well, when a biotic organism dies, then it becomes abiotic.
Hey there, peeps. Just wanted to correct something there. Mr. Kovahled was wrong. So that dead tree, it's not abiotic now. Biotic organisms are things that were living and once living. So that tree, while it was alive, it was biotic, and while it's dead, it's still biotic. As cool and as adventurous as Mr. Danger Dev Kovahled is, he does sometimes get things wrong. Anyways, back to the video.
Does that mean an abiotic factor can become a biotic organism? No. This isn't some sort of zombie apocalypse, and if it was, I'd be able to take them all on myself. But, no. There's no abiotic factors becoming a biotic organism, so you don't need to worry about that. You're totally safe. I think. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little adventure time here. Next time we'll... Did you hear that? Sounds like a time for another adventure. Bye now. Filming for Danger Dev Kovahled Adventures was done by Mr. Kovahled. No Kovahleds were harmed in the making.